Today we have an e-bike here, and this is going to be where we assemble it. This is the Eahora Romeo e-bike. It's a 26-inch e-bike that looks like it's kind of a hybrid mountain and road bike. It looks very rugged. There's a lot of buzz around this bike right now. We are going to see how long it takes to assemble. I've only got 2 tools currently. Usually they come with the tools you need, like Allen wrenches and stuff like that. So I have a pair of scissors and a box cutter. This box is very, very heavy. This box was, I believe, about 120 pounds. It says on the side 64 kilograms. So I think that might be more than 120 pounds. I'll have to do the math and put the amount on in pounds. But it's a very heavy box. And interestingly, it came separately from the wheel. I don't know if that's because they couldn't fit them in the same box or it just got too heavy or what the deal was. So do be careful if you're using a box cutter because the tire is right there in there. So fortunately it doesn't look like I touched the tire, but yeah, you don't want to like slash the tire as you're opening the box. This wheel is a 26-inch mountain bike type wheel. It's got disc brakes. Okay, so they do have a book called Eahora Romeo, and it looks like the instructions on riding as well as assembly. And looking at the assembly instructions, it does seem like it comes with all the tools you need other than the scissors and box cutters, which I already had. And it looks like there's probably 6 sections to the instruction. The first section is to install the headlight, which is right here. And it has a green power cord, and I'm going to assume that the green power cord connects to another green power cord down here. I think I saw one a minute ago. Yeah, it's right here on the end of this. Okay, so we had a little bit of trouble getting the headlight installed on this thing because we have an updated version of the Romeo, and the instructions that we had were for the original version, so there was a bit of a mismatch in the instructions and how to put the actual headlight on. But I contacted Eahora and they got back to me with the instructions on how you do it on this, so I'm going to show you real quick. So first of all, if the old instructions, it showed it mounted up here with a bracket that came off of this piece. That's not the case anymore. Now it's going to mount down here to these 2 metal bars. This part down here is your shock absorber, so it actually has a little bit of give, so you don't want to mount it down here, but you can mount it up here. And what you need to do that is the light itself, the 4 bolts and some washers, these brackets, and these little rubber pieces to keep it from sliding around. So what you do is you take one of these setups and one of these, and you put the little hook right here into the end of this, and then you put the rubber piece right into each of the curved parts, so it's not metal on metal, so that you basically have some resistance, some friction. And then put it right here and right here, and then when you kind of tighten it up, you should feel it kind of clamp down, which means it's going to be nice and solid. And this is where your light's going to actually go on the end here. So I'm going to unscrew or untwist this nut off of this bolt. I'm going to put this through this hole, and I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten it just to get it started. And I'm not going to tighten it all the way yet. I'm going to go ahead and put the other one on and make sure that the holes in this bracket line up with the light itself. So I want to leave it loose so I can move it around a little bit. But I've got it just sitting here on the bottom so that gravity is holding it down. If I put it up here, it might slide over time, so I'm just putting it on the bottom above this middle part. Okay, so now that those 2 are sort of roughly placed, I'm going to take the light, and again there's a 5 on the back. Can you see that 5? And that tells you which way it should go. The 5 should be right side up, and this light is going to go into these 2 brackets, and there is a hole on each one where you'll put these little bolts along with a washer. This is a locking washer that locks it down on there. So I had to phone a friend and have him hold the light in place, and that made things a little bit easier so I could use two hands. And then once you get it in, you just tighten it. And then you have to do the same thing to the opposite side and, of course, tighten these down. But we're getting close. Okay, so we got that one in. Let me just tighten this side a little bit more. Yeah, it just takes some patience and dexterity to get it going. And then for this one, let's see what size this is. Okay, it is that size. I'm going to need a wrench, something small to hold that other side. Yeah, looks like they actually give you the right size wrench. So you'll use the wrench to hold one side and the Allen key to tighten the other side. And it's tightening down nice and tight. And again, you probably want to have that locking washer in there so that that doesn't back out as it vibrates. I don't know if they want you to tighten this down all the way or just to where it feels snug and secure, but I've probably got it about 60% tightened. Yeah, and then I guess you can use the tightness of these to adjust the height of this. So then you just take your green plug and plug it into your green plug and push it together to where it seals, and then you should be good. Let's see what this looks like now if I turn it on. Yep, there we go, lights on. And does the horn work without me putting the, yeah, sure does. All right, so again, brackets here on the sides above the shock and 4 bolts and some washers, and you're good to go. According to the directions, I am to take all 4 of these all the way out and take this piece off right here. So let's do that real quick. You see how that's kind of like, yeah, that one's bent just a little bit. That one's straight. Straight, bent. Straight. And straight, and it goes like that. And that one was there, and that one was there. Okay, so while we were taking it apart and getting ready to put the headlight on, we realized there seems to be a plate missing right here that the headlight attaches to. I'm not sure if this is a different model and it should attach differently, but what we're going to do is just skip the headlight for now and put the handlebars and everything else together. Hopefully everything else is good to go and not have a headlight. I did make a little video to send to Eahora and see what's up with that. So we will move the headlight aside, and we will now go ahead and install the handlebar, which should be as simple as picking this guy up. There's some little ridges here. You may be able to see them. Can you see those ridges?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. And that's what keeps it from rotating, I believe. And so you put it in at an angle that makes sense, and you then take this piece that we just took off and you put it back on. And you take your 4 bolts. Now, of course, one of these bolts was bent a little bit, so I'm gonna see if I can get them all to go on. And now we're going to try and put the front wheel on. I just took these two nuts off of the little bar that's in this front fork, and I'm going to set that right there. And then it says to take the nuts off the wheel itself. Now, a couple of tricks for bike wheels. First of all, I got this box to put the bike up so it's a little more in the right position, and that is probably going to be helpful. Again, if you have someone that can help you do this, it's going to be a lot easier than trying to do it by yourself. Now I'm taking off the nuts off the wheel itself, and there's a little latch, like a little metal washer that has a latch on it that you want to take off as well, it says. And then I think what I'm going to do is lift the wheel up. Also keep in mind that these disc brakes need to go on the same side as the disc. So if you put it like this, you'd be putting it on backwards because the disc is on this side and the brake lever is right there, the brake assembly. So I'm going to put it like this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this out of the way, and then have Chris come help me lift up the bike. Maybe lift it up by the frame because the handlebars only have 3. All right, is that, you good with that?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay. Pop a wheelie, take that off, and then we will set it back down on, and then you try to align the disc brakes with the brake assembly part. Should go in there like the, oh, okay, dummy alert. There's a rubber piece inside the brake, in between the brake pads, that keeps them from going together, and that's why I couldn't get the disc in there, because this piece was in there. So pull this out first, and then try it, and it should go much easier. Yes. Okay. All right, and then once you have that on, you'll take this locking piece and put it on like that, and then tighten it down. And take this locking piece, put it on like that, and tighten it down. And you'll want to take your wrench and tighten it even more. But as of right now, you should be able to pick the bike up, pick it up, and spin the wheel, and then hit the left brake. Yep. Do it again. Cool. And I think that sound you're hearing of it rubbing a little bit is not uncommon when you first set it up. Okay, the front wheel is on. Again, be sure to pull that little piece out in the disc brakes, from inside the disc brakes. That is pretty important if you want to be able to get the disc brake in. And now it says to install the fender. So honestly, yeah, I'll go ahead and put it on. So the fender sometimes can be a little extra weight, but we'll go ahead and put it on anyway. And it looks like it's super easy to do. It is a plastic fender, which is nice because it is lightweight then. Okay, now the fender is on, and it feels like you can kind of adjust it by hand once it's on there. Now the next step, I believe, is the rear shock. Put suspension under seat and use screws to fix it. Use hex key to lock. So let's see where this thing goes. Oh, I see. So it goes.
You need a hand?
I'm not sure yet. Looks like it goes up here and down here. So yeah, this has to come apart, but they only give you one. I think they only give you one Allen key that fits this, and you need two. Well, oh, hold on, maybe not. So this one fits it. So basically you're trying to unscrew this from this, and you just can't hold this because it's slippery. Like when you try to turn it, it just slips in your hand. And then this one is too small. Yeah, too small on both sides. And the other one is too big. So what I need is either another one of these or maybe a pair of pliers, and I could just hold it. Let me see if I have a ton of these at home. The kit only came with one Allen wrench that fit. Fortunately, I had another one, I think. So I'm going to see if I can go ahead and loosen this. Yep, it's working now. You need two. You need one to hold it steady and one to loosen the other side. And then you take this out. And then you're going to do the same thing down here on the bottom. So one's going to go in here. So I'll set this down for a second. And I'm going to assume the top is the side, like it's that if you look at the writing on the label, it should be right side up. That's what I'm going to assume for this thing. Okay. Which means that this end is the top and that's the bottom.
Hold on, sorry, I wasn't ready for that. Can you say it one more time?
So if you assume that the AR, the labeling is correct, I'm going to assume this is the top and this is the bottom. The pictures aren't super clear, but if you do it to where the text is upright, and then front and back, I don't know, it could be this way or it could be this way. I don't know if it matters. Yeah, okay. So that kind of just fits into this little slot right here. And then you take your bolt and push it through the hole. And then your other one. And I'm going to hand tighten it first. And then I'll tighten it in a second. And then I'm going to lift this up. So we're going to try to lift this and put this part with this. There we go. Put that through. And put this on this side. So basically I just put the bolt in and then the little screw that goes in the bolt. I put it in second and then I'm going to tighten it both down. All right, so now I've got, and I'm hoping Eahora will include two of the same size so that you can, or at least of this size, so that you can do this. But I had my own set of Allen keys, fortunately. All right, now let's see if I sit on this thing. Does it look like the spring is flexing? All right. Now I think the last thing, supposedly, is the pedals. And it's very important that you put the left on the left and the right on the right. One of them will turn counterclockwise to tighten, and one of them will turn clockwise to tighten. That's just the way pedals work. That's not just e-bikes, that's any bike. So you'll want to put your left one, and that one is going to turn counterclockwise, and right one will turn clockwise, and they should be marked. Yep, they're marked on the end with an L and an R. You see that?
Yep, I can.
Nice. And that's going to be as if you were riding the bike. So right would be this side, and that's going to be, I think, the clockwise one. And you should be able to get it started by hand. Yeah, actually. All right, so I got it started. This one is going to be counterclockwise to tighten, so I'll turn it this way. See, the whole pedal doesn't have to turn. You can actually just turn it. There is a separate little kind of screw mechanism. And you want to make sure your pedals are on nice and tight, otherwise they might fall off while you're riding, which would, I guess on an e-bike, not be horrible because you can just use the throttle. But let me get the wrench and tighten those down. There's a little flat spot that you got to find, and then once you find the flat spot, the wrench will go on it. Okay. Now the tire pressure is pretty low. Like these have a lot of bounce. I'd probably put a little more air in them. I don't have my pump here with me, but I will bring it. And then I think probably the last thing you got to do is go ahead and plug in the battery in the computer. So it's been about an hour and a half to get to this state. We had two issues. One, there was a plate missing on the top, so we couldn't get the light installed, but I installed without it, and I think it's okay. And then the second was we have a bent bolt for the part that holds the steering handlebars on, and I'm going to try and find a new bolt. I put 3 of them on. Should be okay for just, I wouldn't, do any big mountain biking or down any big drops or anything. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can turn it on. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Enter your power on password. Okay, let's see if that's default is noted in the instructions. So maybe we'll try 0000. Okay, so it looks like 0000 is the default. The battery is 74% charged at this point, and its odometer is 000, so it's ready to ride, I think. The headlight's obviously not going to do anything because there's no headlight. The horn maybe is in the headlight because it doesn't seem to do anything. Let's see if the blinkers work. Okay, yeah, there's a blinker on the left back here and a blinker on the right. And okay, there is a tail light too that just seems to be permanently on. And let's see, that's the throttle. Haha. Yep, there's the throttle. These are the gear shifts. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Like I said, I don't think the horn works because I'll bet the horn isn't integrated with the light, is my guess. As a matter of fact, we could probably plug in the light and see if that is the case. Oh yeah, there's the light, there's the headlight. But again, we don't have a way to mount it, but let's see if the horn, yep. Horn and light are one. So if you wanted to have a horn, you got to have the light. Okay, just hold the power button for a couple of seconds and it goes off. And I think we're ready for a test ride, minus the headlight and with only 3 bolts in the steering, in the handlebar. So maybe a little sketch, but just I want to see if it rides okay. and then I'll get those things fixed and then do a proper review.